In this tutorial, we'll take a look at all of the new features that we've added for Speechless. We'll go step by step in showing you how to work with scripts, manage your data within lines, generating text-to-speech, and syncing the content back to your workplace. So let's jump straight in. We're gonna work with a very basic Excel script. We do support CSV and Excel currently. So I'm gonna grab my Excel file here, and really what we want to do here is to map up the columns and the data so that Speechless understands what it's looking at. So in this case, I've got file name, character, I've got an event, and I got the line. I will click first row as header so that we don't import the first row in this case. And then I'm gonna go and import this. And we'll get a little confirmation window here just to give us a prompt and pretty much tell us what we're looking at and what's going to happen in the system when we press import. Let's look at the data based on characters. We can see that the system has imported all of this data and it maps it accordingly for each character. If we were to press the lines here, for each character we'd get a filter view of those lines for that character. But I'm going to jump in here and assign some AI voices or text-to-speech voices to my characters. We have a few different vendors that you can choose from when generating text-to-speach. The latest one is ElevenLabs, which I think is really good. It sounds good. It has a really good sound quality, and it reads scripts and dynamics within scripts very well. So we're going to take a listen to this once I've set all of this up, and I might be fast forwarding the video right here. Okay, so with each character having one assigned text-to-speech actor, it's very simple to generate text-to-speech in bulk now. The system remembers, of course, which character has what voice actor or text-to-speech actor, so you'll always get the same result if you don't change that setting. This is good because that means that when we import scripts in the future, we will be able to automatically generate text-to-speech, and we don't have to spend any time assigning this. All right, let's do the generation. So we get a prompt again, just to verify that this is what we want to do. We can actually override the text-to-speech right here and select a different voice if we, for some reason, would want to do that. I'm going to use these as selected ticks, and we'll hit generate. The system will now generate these in the background, so we don't have to stay on this side here on lines. We can look at some of the other features. So event is in my project here, something that is the name of the triggers coming from the game. That's how I've set it up. We also got scenes where you can work with lines and throw them in and just see how everything plays together. That's pretty useful, especially when generating text-to-speech and maybe listening to some of the recorded audio from real voice talents or your own draft. I've gone ahead and added some information to one of our characters here. This is information that'll be used by any talent auditioning for this character. So we got accent, age, style, backstory, personality, just to give them some information on what to do when they audition. We can also see here that you can add audition lines with this plus button here, and then just head straight to the voice talent library to shortlist some nice voices for this character. We're going to take a look at the voice library shortly. Let's look at the files that's now been generated in the system. We're going to head into one of these lines and listen to what ElevenLabs, in this case, has been generating for us.
A crew, I work alone.
Enemy up ahead.
Target down!
We've got a job to finish.
So we got some good variation there.
Enemy.
Enemy.
And this
Get ready.
will be useful when we playtest or try it in our game. Let's jump into one of the lines to look at the data. So this is where we store all of the takes and where we set up our data that is tied to the line. We can also open this up in our recorder to quickly add placeholder VO. We got a job to finish. This is now stored in the line, and if we head back, we'll see that within the line we got my own addition here. It's take 2, and we can make this as our select or not. I'm going to keep the text to speech as our select for now because we're going to work a little bit with changing the script. Alright, so we got a script change here. I'm going to save that. The first thing that happens is that we can see that the system is tagging both of these takes as outdated takes now, which is really helpful because this can be filtered in the lines view to find all the takes that are outdated. And we can get a little pop-up like this to see exactly what has happened. We see the old take and we see the current line. And we see the changes that's gone into this. This will work even if you import in bulk with Excel or CSV as well, but I'm doing this just with one line. Now, we can do some quick things here to update the take, especially if it's an AI take. So I'm going to update this AI take to make a new recording or a new audio file for the new script, just like that. So it closes out the tag. It's no longer outdated, as you can see, and we will be able to listen to the new line momentarily. Here we go. Let's take a listen to this.
We've got a job to finish, you lazy maggots.
Great. And we can see that 11 Labs actually raised the dynamic a little bit there with the 3 exclamation marks. Now I'm going to revert this and save it again. And we can see that the system remembers that the first take was, or is, actually now accurate, and the new text-to-speech line is now outdated. So it keeps track back and forth, which is good if you revert some changes or make any other changes. It'll keep track of that. Let's generate one more of these text-to-speech lines just to compare the dynamic that I was talking about in 11 Labs.
We've got a job to finish. We've got a job to finish, you lazy maggots.
So we've got a clear change in dynamic there, really based on those exclamation marks. Okay, let's take a look at our label system. This can be used in a number of ways. For instance, you can export this data as a text file, but it can also be used internally within Speechless to track changes that's being made to lines. So in this case, I'm gonna make a classic like needs rewrite tag or label on this line. And I'm gonna select a few more lines and attach that label to these lines, just like this. All right, so now these 4 lines will be showing if I filter for my label. So a team member, maybe a writer on the team, could go in and see that, okay, yeah, these are the 4 lines that needs to be rewritten. So it's that simple. And then you can head into the lines either individually or in bulk, and you can just remove the tag if you feel like you're done with this change, or if you want to add another label, of course. You can do multiple labels and have any type of data here. And like I talked about before, you can also filter for outdated selected takes. I think that if we select this option now, we're not going to find any outdated takes, but we'll head into one of the lines and actually make one of the outdated takes our select. We go back and we select this take status again, and we can see, well, there it is. That's the outdated line, so we need to address that. And any lines with a selected outdated take would be showing up there, so it's really simple to track. Let's take a quick look at how to export data from Speechless. So we can do this by manually selecting a few lines and either exporting them as a script, exporting the lines, or export the audio. And in this case, we'll get a selection if we want to export just the selected takes or all the takes, including the alt takes or anything that you've recorded, really. Here you can set up a custom name, a custom suffix for the file, as well as a number sequence. You can choose to use this suffix for the selected takes or just the all takes. And this is exported as a zip file. For a more automated workflow, you can set up export targets within the platform. So I can create an export target for Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, or GitHub. Let's make a test with a Google Drive export target. So I'll connect my account to the platform. I'll give it access to connect to one of my folders. I'll write a fitting name for this export. We can have multiple exports, by the way, in different formats if we want to. I can choose to have the sync enabled or disabled. And then I simply select the folder that I want the content to be synced to. We also have the option to have the files being mastered through the platform. So if you want to have a specific mastering applied, you can do that. Most importantly, you can set your format here. So any type of compressed format or the raw WAV. And then we select to sync it, or we just have it set up as an auto sync. That's completely up to you how you want to work with it. Now let's take a look at setting up a character for casting. There are a few things that we need to do quickly before heading out in search of voice talent. So we want to add some information to our characters. In this case, I'll use Kara again. And I'll start by adding a few additional lines to the character sheet. So this will be shared with the voice talent being invited to the audition. And it's all automated, so you don't have to send a script along with a casting inquiry. You can use the audition lines and pre-fill it here. But you do have the option to share any type of files, a PDF or a document for them to read if you have a more detailed scene, for instance. But this is a fast and convenient way of sharing lines with the voice over talent. So with that finished, we can now decide to add a backstory and personality to the character sheet. This will also be shared with the voice talent so that they can make a better read in the audition. Okay, let's head into the voice library. We have just short of 500 excellent voiceover talents, and they're vetted by us in both a technical aspect and a creative aspect. So we require the talents to be good at character work, and we require them to have a really good home recording setup. You can filter by language, accent, gender, type, tone, and age. In this case, I'm going to go for a UK London accent in English. If you also select the type and tone, you'll be presented with these type of specific demos that you can listen to straight away instead of having to browse through all of the content that voiceover talent might have on the reel. Let's take a look at one of the profiles here. So on the left panel, we got all of the demos that the voice has been uploaded. We can see that these are all tagged up accordingly, and we can listen to them to make a choice if we think that this voice talent is a good fit for our character. On the right, you can see the technical specifications that they're recording with, and you can listen to their studio quality demo.
Hi, this is Esme Myers at Speechless, and this is an example of what my studio sounds like.
And with that, if I'm happy with what I'm hearing, I can shortlist her for one of our characters, in this case, Kara. Let's go back to Kara and take a look at where we are. All of our saved candidates for this character will be presented here. We might be browsing the voice library for a couple of days, so it's important that we keep all of the talents on the list here. And when we feel like we're ready to initiate an audition, we'll start a chat with the talent or their agent. And if it's the first time you're using Speechless, you will have to add your billing account to the platform otherwise you won't be able to invite talents to audition for you. I'll sped up the video here so that you don't have to wait around. Alright. So when inviting a voice to a chat, we're actually inviting them to audition for our character. And we get some help by the platform here to simplify this process. So we want to let the talent know when they need to submit their audition by. So you can either use the pre-selected 24 or 48 hours, or just enter the number of days that you have for your deadline there. You then have the option to submit a recording time window. This is pretty useful just to make sure that the talent is available during a time frame that you have in mind for the recording. You can also fill in the estimated total hours for the session. None of this information is required. You can actually skip this whole step if you just want to head straight into the chat and tell the talent about the audition, but it does help. It speeds the process up, and the talent will be notified by the system and given all of this information at once. The last step is to share the character information with the talent so that they can review the character information as well as the audition lines. So by submitting this and pressing OK, we're actually sharing that data with them. Good, and yeah, the next step here is that we're waiting for the talent to submit their audition reels, and they will be uploaded here in the chat for you to take part of and listen to. Let's take a look at how the booking system works. So we've had an audition reel submitted by the talent, and we like what they've recorded, so we're going forward with a booking. Now this is all handled by the platform, all the agreements, all the payments, and the booking in itself is handled here. So you input a meeting link, which will be used for streaming the audio and video. It won't capture the audio, that is handled by the platform still, but it helps in the communication. You add a description for the session, and you put in your desired date and time and duration. Now we also have some checkboxes for what type of content that is being recorded. This is required by the new union agreement with Equity. So just fill out whatever is anticipated in this session, and then accept the session cost and the buyout. And this can be reviewed on your right side here of the page. So you got the session cost at the top and then the buyout just below. In this case, we're looking at an indie project, and we also do have the value added tax for European companies right there. Okay, let's go forward with creating this session. The booking request is now sent out to the voice talent, and we now have the choice to add lines and a manuscript to the session if we want to. We can do this later as well, but let's look at how the interface looks here. So this is basically the same view as our lines view, and we can sort and filter to find a specific character or an event, scene or label. And we then press add selected lines to the session, and that way we are populating the session. This can be done from the main platform too, from the lines view, but it's just a quick step if you want to quickly add lines to your recording session. Now if we're in the chat window, we can see that we have a session awaiting acceptance here to the right. So we're just waiting for the talent to accept this. It is not booked yet. The talent has not accepted it yet. We can see that within the session as well, just to nicely track this. And as soon as they accept the session, the status will change and it will be confirmed. Let's take a look at the recording interface for Speechless. Now, as you might have guessed, this is all hooked up to your line database. It's all hooked up to the session. And as you record your content, it will automatically be populated within each line. That is the power of this system, that you don't have to go back and forth and track things or name files. It'll just be populated automatically. So that saves a lot of time, not having to go through all of those steps. As you can see, this is a quite basic recording session and script, we're just looking at one character. Therefore, it's not divided into different sections. If we had added more data here, like more characters or scenes, it would have divided that up so that we could take one at a time, of course. Let's take a look at the recording settings. So first of all, of course, the talent or yourself, if you're recording this in-house, you need to set your audio input. That's a given. But then we do have some interesting features like hold to record instead of toggling. You do have auto advance. I think I'm going to show you that just now. And you can also decide to show all takes. When you head into a session, we don't show old content, but sometimes that can be useful reviewing whatever you have recorded, or maybe even the text-to-speech line to see how it fits with other lines. But I'm going to remove that now, and I'm going to choose to record this with auto advance as well as holding instead of toggling. This gives you a really high speed recording for one-liners such as this script. I'll speed up the video after 2 lines here to save you from my terrible acting. 26 lines will go really quick.
Enemy! Careful there!
Alright, and we can now see that all of the takes are being added to each of the lines. If we go to settings and we show all takes, we can now see both the selected text-to-speech, which was previously selected, and my new take, just like that. And in this view, you can make your selects and trim the audio file so that it's ready for your export. Let's go back to the lines overview and make a filtering for the character we just recorded. And you can see here that I now have a really good overview. I can make my selects on the new take, the newly recorded take if I want to. And this is one of the powerful things with Speechless, that we have everything integrated into one place. Everything from recording to syncing with the export target, because in a matter of minutes, you can have gone from recording that audio with a voice talent to having it edited, labeled, and synced back to your workspace and then into your project. And to support that workflow, like I said before, we do have the option to make a quick edit on the audio. So we can go back into the recording module here, make a quick edit, and then go back and we'll see that that's instantly updated. And then again, that's synced back to your delivery folder. That rounds up this tutorial. Please reach out if you're interested in signing up, or shoot us any questions that you have regarding the platform. Thank you for watching.